I'm going to show you how to give a store-bought cake a makeover. First, why do people do cake makeovers? 3 reasons. First, you can save a lot of time by skipping several steps of the process: mixing, baking, cooling, and assembling. Second, maybe you love a flavour from Costco, Walmart, Tesco, wherever, but you want to personalise it. Third, if you have a cake fail just before an event, this is a great quick replacement option. So, how do you do a cake makeover? First of all, take off any decorations from the cake. Depending on how you want to decorate the cake, you'll probably have to remove any garnishes, like chocolate shavings or fruit. Do this before you scrape off any of the frosting, so that you don't end up with chunky ingredients in any frosting that you want to reuse. Frosting swirls are very useful because they're easy to remove by scraping over the top of the cake a few times, and there's a lot of frosting in these swirls, which you can then use to refrost the cake or redecorate it. Large garnishes, like these strawberries, are easy to take off, but the smaller the garnishes are, the trickier they are to take off. And if you miss any and they get stuck in the frosting, if you then try to smooth the frosting or decorate with it, it will have chunks of ingredients in it, so it will be lumpy. It's a good idea to have 2 bowls next to you as you scrape the cake. One for any garnishes, like chocolate shavings or strawberries, and another one for extra frosting. You probably won't reuse the garnishes because they'll be covered with smears of frosting, but you might choose to reuse the frosting, so save that bowl for later. Cakes from supermarkets or grocery stores are usually 2 layers, so they're quite short, but it's easy to turn them into a tall cake, which I love because it gives you much more space for decorations on the sides of the cake. Just flip one cake upside down onto another one, pull the cake board off, and then stick a boba straw down through the middle of the cake to keep it straight so it doesn't lean to one side. Cut the straw at the top of the cake so it's invisible, and then move on to the next step, refrosting the cake. You can use the extra frosting you scraped off the cake, or you can let this layer set as a crumb coat and then use homemade frosting, like my 4-minute buttercream, for the final layer. If you prefer the taste, or if you want to decorate the cake using a technique that works better with buttercream, like stenciling or carving. And in my Basics of Buttercream, I teach lots of techniques that are unique to buttercream. You can visit my cake school by clicking the link up in the top of the screen or in the video description, or go to britishgirlbakes.com. Okay, more details on refrosting the cake. Why would you frost it again? Well, after taking off the decorations you don't want, the frosting will probably be messy. You can use those frosting swirls you scraped off to touch up the frosting on the cake, or even cover it with another layer of frosting. For example, if you want to get rid of texture in the frosting and do smooth frosting instead, or the other way around. With this strawberry frosting, you can see how difficult it is to get the frosting smooth if there are any chocolate shavings left in it. But, as you'll see in a second, there are loads of ways to decorate a cake that will cover up any imperfections in the frosting. Now for the fun part, giving the cake its makeover by decorating it. There are endless ways of decorating a cake, and I teach hundreds of cake decorating designs and techniques on my cake school on britishgirlbakes.com. Here are 2 easy but eye-catching ways to give your cake its makeover. On this tall chocolate cake, I'll show you how to do a chocolate wrap, also called a chocolate collar. Start by melting chocolate chips. If you do this in the microwave, use 70% power for only 30 seconds at a time, and then stir until smooth. Spoon the melted chocolate into a sandwich bag and cut a tiny piece off the corner. Cut a piece of parchment so it's a little bit taller than the cake and long enough to wrap all the way around, plus about an inch. And drizzle the melted chocolate over the parchment paper, or you can use baking paper or wax paper instead. Lift the paper up, lower the bottom edge onto the cake board and press it against the cake, and then wrap it around the cake so that the chocolate sticks to the frosting. It's easiest to do this after chilling the cake in the fridge so that the frosting is cold and firm. Overlap the parchment and trim off any excess, and then put the cake in the fridge for about 30 minutes to set this chocolate. Peel the parchment off and you'll leave a beautiful design behind on the cake. Using store-bought cakes is a great way to practice cake decorating techniques like this, without spending all day baking the cakes first. Here's another fun way to redecorate a cake. Brush the frosting lightly with water after the cake has been chilled in the fridge, so it's firm and will hold its shape. Then pour sprinkles into a bowl, and nonpareils or hundreds and thousands work best for this because they're tiny, so they don't add a lot of texture to the cake. Put the cake on a tray or baking sheet and then press the sprinkles into the frosting, and they'll stick because of the water. You could do this straight after buying or frosting a cake, when it's at room temperature, but the pressure from your hands will leave impressions in the frosting, so you won't get as smooth a surface as this. By chilling the cake first, you'll keep the sides straight and the top level. The tray will catch all of the bouncing sprinkles so they don't go all over the room, and cleaning up will be really quick and easy. After decorating the cake, if you want to transfer it from its cake board onto a cake stand, just slide an offset spatula underneath it after chilling the cake so you don't damage it. This will separate the cake from the board, and then you can lift it up and place it on a cake stand or a plate or a platter. Now it looks like a homemade cake. Yum! After giving your cake a makeover, you can either scrape it and decorate it again to practice another technique, or you can serve it. With your gorgeous decorations, no one would guess this cake started its life in a grocery store. What do you think? Would you try this? Tell me in the comments. Thanks for watching.